This is the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on January the 3rd, 2014. This is our first show of 2014. Don't forget, our show runs on your favorite radio stations. Also, the shows are archived on Harold's websites, HESradio.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. We have a podcast through iTunes. Type in World Financial Report on radio. You can find us there. We're portable. We go anywhere you do on your portable device. Harold does daily market commentary on his sites. You can find that on the podcast site as well. 2013 was a very interesting year. A lot of the markets, in our opinions, were massively manipulated due to quantitative easing and the government hand. And with the first show of 2014, it will be interesting to see what happens in this year. And we have a philosophy, obviously, believing in hard assets. And we will find out what wins out in 2014. Paper assets, hard assets. We're seeing gold move from the west to the east to China in a major way. They're draining the GLD, which is the gold ETF. All of that gold is going east to China. Also, quantitative easing. Will the taper continue? Will they stop it? Will they have to add more QE because of a poor economy or deflation? These are the big questions of 2014, and we will be here throughout the year, obviously communicating to you our philosophy about hard assets and giving you a daily market commentary and guidance as to what we're seeing on a weekly and monthly basis. And Harold, there are some very big questions for 2014 because I think this QE and tapering, they don't know how it's going to go. And you could definitely see an economy crash. You could see a stock market crash as a result of the QE being pulled back.
You better believe it, Randy. It's going to be a very interesting year. First of all, we want to wish everybody a very happy new year. Thank you very, very much for sticking with us through 2013. We love doing the radio shows, and we love our clients and listeners. And again, even though it was a tough year, we've never missed a radio show, and we're always here for you. You know, 2013 was a poor year for gold and silver, a great year for the Dow. And I do want to say that this was my first losing year in the past 13 years. I've been in business for 35 years. I've made predictions for those 35 years. That's what I do. Aside from 2013, been very successful predicting the markets in gold and silver, platinum, palladium, oil, currencies, diamonds, stocks. Again, that's what I do. I know how to read charts. I know how to determine a long and short-term trend. We determined the trend back in 2000 that nobody else saw except for us and John Embry. And again, our listeners and clients that bought gold at $250 and silver at $4 made a fortune of money with us. So between 2000 and 2014, my predictions for precious metals made fortunes for my clients, listeners of our radio show. As I mentioned, gold went from $250 to $1920. Silver went from $4 to $50, and oil went from $18 to $50. Those were all substantial moves that made our clients a tremendous amount of money. In the bull market from 2000 to 2012, we were on top of it for each of those 12 years, and my predictions were very accurate. So how did things go so wrong in 2013? Did I miss something that was obvious to other analysts? All of a sudden, did I lose my talent that I've had for 3 decades now? I don't think so. In 2011, gold hit $1,920 and silver hit $50. And that's when the exchanges raised the marginal requirements 5 times in 1 week. I knew it would have a short-term negative effect on the markets. However, the fundamentals were still strong in gold and silver, and aside from the higher cost of doing business in metals and trading the metals, the market still looked like it would go and make new highs. We are expecting that at the end of 2012, that the price of gold would have hit somewhere in the range of $2,000 to $2,200, but that didn't happen. Evidently, there was a plan to make precious metals decline in price so violently that investors would stay away from trading precious metals. Now, why would that happen? Why would the government care what happens in the commodity markets, especially, to a market like gold and silver? Because gold and silver are a hedge against inflation, currency devaluation, and higher precious metals prices are an indication of a non-recovery. And that was like cancer to the U.S. government. The U.S. government has printed trillions of dollars. We don't even know how many trillions of dollars have been printed in order to, number one, boost the stock market, number two, raise real estate prices, number three, raise consumer confidence, and number four, get people back to work. Now, stock prices have increased substantially, but not on strong fundamentals, but by putting $85 billion a month into bonds, stocks, and mortgage-backed securities. So the gross domestic product, which is the growth of the United States, shows that there's no growth. But the S&P is sitting at record highs. So that's impossible in any other time aside from now. It is literally impossible for the S&P to be at record highs with no growth occurring in the United States, but that is what's happening at this particular point. Real estate prices are rising. However, they plummeted so substantially in 2008, 9, and 10 that they fell as far as they could possibly go. So we had to see some type of a recovery in prices. Now, prices are rising quickly, and that's a good indication. That is not a good indication of a solid market. It's a repeat of what happened in 2008. So another potential bubble is happening in the real estate market, and there's also the same scenario happening in the stock market. There are millions of homes still in foreclosure that the banks haven't released onto the market yet because they're afraid that when they release these homes, these foreclosed homes, that it's going to plummet the price again. Now, consumer confidence amongst the middle class is low at this time, and the middle class controls the economy. So unemployment is a huge issue, and the government is playing with the numbers. There's no way in the world that we're seeing a recovery in the employment market. Now, we've seen, according to the numbers, that the unemployment numbers have fallen all the way down to below 7% to about 6.8%. But those numbers are fictitious because they don't include, number one, people that have given up looking for jobs, people that made $50, $60, $80, $100,000 a year, that can only get a $20,000 or $30,000 a year job now. They've stopped looking for work. It's not that they don't want to work, it's just that jobs don't exist. And the other jobs that were created under the Obama government, which they're so proud of at this point, are low-paying full-time jobs that are nowhere near what a family needs in order to survive. And then on top of that, you're looking at a situation to where people just can't. And on top of that, the majority of the jobs were actually part-time jobs. Now, that's for two reasons. Number one is that companies can't afford to hire full-time employees at this particular point, and with Obamacare, which is a disaster at this time, corporations have to pay that increase in insurance costs, and they just couldn't do it at this particular point. So, again, I really do not believe at this point that the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars that the government put into the marketplace have had the desired effect. They felt that we would see a large increase in jobs, and that's what the country needs to get back on track, but that just isn't happening. So I could go on and on and on about what's going on at this point here, but the show's only an hour, and it would take longer than that to explain all the intricacies of what's happening at this point. At this time, I certainly can't guarantee that the precious metals will resume its bull market this year. We'll have to see what is going to happen. And again, we enjoyed a bull market in gold and silver for 12 years straight. We could basically predict with great accuracy the bull market in precious metals. But that's not possible to do today because the government is desperate, and they will continue to do what they are doing until they succeed or fail. My best guess is that they will fail, as much as I hate to say so. I just don't know what it could actually happen that is going to change the overall view of the marketplace. I just don't see where all of a sudden they're going to be able to create enough jobs to get this economy back on track. So again, at this particular point, we do believe that we are going to see a different type of bull market. We will not resume the orderly bull market that we saw, between 2000 and 2012. What we will see is massive price increases over a short period of time. So we have to be prepared for that. It will be spectacular. The prices of gold and silver will increase, and most investors will miss the move because the move will be so substantial and so fast and so furious that they just won't have time to get involved in it. And most people will actually miss it. The unfortunate thing is that we'll see a tremendous decline in stocks and in bonds and in real estate prices, which will rob most people of the money that they have at this particular point, and that will happen just like it did in 1999, in 2008, and it's going to happen again, and it very easily could happen in 2014. We're obviously extremely concerned about what has happened in the United States and all over the world at this point, because every country feeds off of each other. Things have not gotten better in Europe, and the fact is that all the money that the U.S. government has put back into the markets has not had the desired effect. So what I think is going to happen is that we're going to see some very substantial moves this year. I believe that if interest rates go up, which there's a very good chance that they will, it will trigger a massive sell-off in stocks. It will plummet the bond market and the real estate market, and it'll start a sell-off in the derivatives market that will defy description. And that's one of my biggest fears, is what's going to happen when interest rates go up and these derivatives markets start to unwind and start to plummet, and they cause and wreak havoc on the markets like they did in 2008. That was one of the major reasons why we saw what we saw back in 2008 and 2009. So I do believe that gold is going to hit 2,000, $3,500, then ultimately $5,000. Silver will hit 50, 100, and eventually $200. Not only based on what's happening in the economy, but it will also be because of a massive shortage in the physical market in gold and silver. I believe stocks will plummet to below 8,000 points, and I think all this will occur in an extremely short period of time. So be prepared. The precious metals markets you want to own physically. You don't want to be in the futures markets. You will never, ever be able to survive what's going to happen in this market. The moves are going to be so fast and violent and furious that if you're not already in the market, you're going to miss it 100%. And again, a bull market like this that we've been in for 12 years now, we've had one bad year due to the desperate situations of the U.S. government, but that doesn't take away the fundamentals of the market. The biggest fundamental for gold and silver, in my opinion, is the strength of the U.S. dollar. There's a direct correlation between gold, silver, and the U.S. dollar. In the 90s, when the U.S. dollar was a predominant currency and the U.S. economy was strong, stock prices were at record prices at that time, and gold, there was no need for gold. Gold was trading at $250. But all of a sudden, things started to change. And as inflation came into the picture and currency problems, and then 9/11 happened and all that, well, then you start to see the price of gold start to rally. And gold went from $250 to $3 to $5 to $8 to $1,000 to eventually $1,920. And while that was all happening, the U.S. dollar was falling and falling and falling and becoming one of the weakest currencies. Well, as we're sitting right now, the U.S. dollar is one of the weakest currencies in the world right now. It went from being the strongest to one of the weakest. Gold went from 250 when the U.S. dollar was strong and plummeted all the way and skyrocketed to 1920 when the U.S. dollar plummeted to 71.5 cents. That's where we're sitting at this particular point. Right now, the U.S. dollar is right at 80 cents. It's at a major support level. We know that the U.S. government is continuing, the Federal Reserve is continuing to print and print and print more money that will continue to weaken and weaken the U.S. dollar, and eventually, within the foreseeable near future, and it will probably happen this year, the U.S. dollar will retest, it was a 72.5 cent level, which is only about 7.5 cents from where it is right now. Once that happens, gold will certainly resume its upward spiral, but again, it's going to be a much more violent and fast move. And the best way to understand that is go look at the charts from 1972 for gold and silver all the way up to 1980. You're going to see an orderly bull market up until 1979, and then a massive move in gold and silver, especially in silver, that took silver up, prices up almost 70 or 80%. So again, if you don't learn from history, history tends to repeat itself, and I believe we're going to see a repeat of history, a very similar market that we saw in 1979 and 80 when gold and silver prices spiked and skyrocketed, even though the government interfered in the market and tried to bring it down. So, again, Randy, at this particular point, I am predicting much, much higher prices for gold and silver, but not the same orderly market that we saw back when we were trading from 2000 to 2012. It's going to be much more forceful. You have to have your positions in the market already own your gold and silver. You don't want to trade this market. You want to buy and hold it. You want to be in for when this market skyrockets, and then you want to be able to sell it. And it's easier to sell physical gold and silver, especially if it's in smaller quantities, coins or smaller bars type of thing. So, again, the fundamentals are there. They have never left the market. The only thing that changed was the attitude of the government trying to bring down the price of a commodity that reflects the true story of what's happening in the world economy. And things are not pretty. There is no doubt in my mind that we're in the right market at the right time. Between gold, silver, oil, and diamonds, there is no doubt in my mind that we're going to make fortunes in these markets again. And this is not wishful thinking. This is 35 years of experience in the business. I know this business well. Again, last year was an off year, but that was not something that ever showed up in the charts or the fundamentals. It was something that was premeditated by the actual government. And again, nobody can predict when the markets are rigged. I do believe that we are 100% right in this market, and I do believe that all of us that are in physical gold, silver, and diamonds, the next 5 and 10 years will make us fortunes in these markets and set us up for the rest of our life. So that's the way I say things at this point, Randy. Again, I know I'm a little vague on prices at this point, but again, the government has an agenda, and we just don't know exactly when that is going to change. And I do believe it will change when we see interest rates go up. At that point, you'll see all hell break loose in all of the markets around the world.
Get our free weekly newsletter from the company Harold recommends you use. Invest with Worldwide Precious Metals. They specialize in gold, silver, platinum, palladium. Start your own precious metals investment account. Connect with them at www.pmc.com. Telephone number 1-866-623-2002. In our free weekly newsletter, we have a chart, a silver chart from King World News. Turning to silver, they say, it is also at the most oversold level in its history, slightly eclipsing the oversold level from 31 years ago. The plunge you see on the left-hand side of the chart took place from 80 to 82. You can see this chart. Get it from Worldwide, 1-866-623-2002, www.pmc.com. As mentioned, silver has now eclipsed the most oversold level in history that was last seen in 1982. From such extreme levels, massive rebounds are to be expected. From June of 82 to February of 83, silver rallied a staggering 320%. A move like that today would take silver to $65 in just 8 months. Get this chart from Worldwide. Let them educate you as to why you should always have an allocation of precious metals in your portfolio. Find out about beyond gold and silver, what the prospects are for palladium and platinum. They are used in cars, catalytic converters. There are shortages of platinum and palladium, and experts, they are predicting much higher prices for platinum and palladium in 2014. Gold and silver, obviously, start your own precious metals investment account with Worldwide, 1-866-623-2002, the website www.pmc.com. When we first started doing the show back in 2002 together, Harold and I, February of that year, I remember watching the Canadian Business Channel, and there was a guy that came on. His name was John Embry. At that time, he worked for the Royal Bank of Canada, and he was a person who believed in gold, and he was one of the few early voices, along with Harold, advocating gold at that time when it was around $250 to $300. Eventually, he went to work for Sprott Asset Management here in Canada with Eric Sprott. Now, John Embry was recently interviewed, and he said, at the time, we have this ongoing false confidence being expressed about the global economy. The IMF has come out now and stated they are raising their outlook for the U.S. in 2014. I just noted they're also raising their outlook for Japan as well. If you print enough money, you might get a dead cat bounce in an economy. But with what we're dealing with is the ultimate outcome, which is going to be rampant inflation if this continues. If the economies ever do improve, inflation is going through the roof. And if they don't improve, they're going to print more and more money, and inflation is going through the roof anyway. So in 2014, it's going to be a very, very challenging year, to put it mildly. And he also went on to give an anecdote about, it was actually his anniversary here recently, and him and his wife go to San Francisco for their anniversary. And he said, I've been to San Francisco with my wife 40 times. And I've never seen the city of San Francisco slower at any time in the past 40 years. I went Christmas shopping for gifts, and normally there would be lines out in the street at some of these places. Instead, I went right in with no wait, made my purchases, and went straight to the cashier and paid without waiting. So there is something strange going on. Everyone is saying the U.S. economy is strengthening, and that President Obama was saying today that there could be a real turnaround in 2014. I see all of this as propaganda and outright lies, because from what I've observed with my own eyes, the bullish talk is patently false. I don't see the strength in the U.S. economy at all. They just had about the third or fourth upward revision of the third quarter GDP. And now, because the consumer had not been doing well, they cranked up the consumer numbers in the latest adjustment. So I think there's something seriously wrong. And as a result, they are falsifying a lot of data in a desperate attempt to try and cover it up. But I strongly believe that the harsh reality will become very obvious in 2014 as it unfolds. And John was quoted about gold and silver. He says, my optimism on gold and silver is absolutely unshaken. Despite the dreadful year we've experienced as the paper boys won a big round, the fact is gold and silver are cheap in relation to their true fundamentals as they ever been in history. The one thing that I'm extremely comfortable with is my own personal portfolio with physical gold and silver in my own possession. Speak with Worldwide Precious Metals. They can help you start your own precious metals investment account. If you're looking to buy an investment that will give you wealth, real wealth, hard asset wealth at an unbelievable value, now is the time to look at gold and silver. 1-866-623-2002. The website for Worldwide Precious Metals, wwpmc.com. Going to come back and talk about diamonds. In 2013, diamonds had an outstanding year, and we expect 2014 to be even better. We'll come back and talk about diamonds as the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on January the 3rd, 2014. Our first show of 2014. Radio show runs on your favorite radio stations. Shows are archived, too, on Harold's websites, hesradio.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. We have a podcast through iTunes. Connect with that. Have iTunes on your computer, your portable device. Type in World Financial Report on Radio. We are there. We're portable. We go anywhere you do. Harold does daily market commentary. Find it on his website. You can find it on the podcast site as well. There's only one company Harold recommends you use when it comes to investing in gold and silver. Worldwide Precious Metals of Vancouver, leading Canadian precious metals bullion dealer, recommended by Harold for well over 10 years. They're the experts to trust and work with in this very specialized market. Start your own precious metals investment account today. All gold is allocated either wholesale or premium. They're there to help you maximize profit, minimize risk. You will have instant liquidity in and out of the market with just a phone call, 24/7 online access. The metal can be stored on your behalf, insured to the full value of your investment. Ask about domestic or foreign storage and premium storage in specific coin and bar form. Stored metal is outside the banking system. The metal can also be delivered to your door worldwide, has worldwide access to the physical precious metals you want today. Connect with them at www.pmc.com. The website, that's the website. The telephone number, 1-866-623-2002. It was an outstanding year for diamonds. RareColoredDiamonds.com with Harold Siegel. They were on Bloomberg twice on television with Deirdre Bolton and Carol Masser. Both times, Harold has had Liz Taylor diamonds with him, and both ladies had the opportunity to wear the diamonds and were just absolutely in heaven. We have the video of those two encounters in our free weekly newsletter. They're posted on Harold's website as well, RareColoredDiamonds.com. If you have not seen Harold on Bloomberg from 2013, a few months ago, go to the website, RareColoredDiamonds.com, and see Harold being interviewed twice by Bloomberg, by Deirdre and Carol. He was also on Bloomberg Radio with Carol and Pim Fox. So it was an outstanding year for Harold and Rare Colored Diamonds, interviewed by magazines, or new articles done on him in magazines, and on top of it, interviewed by many small media outlets all over North America. And RareColoredDiamonds.com, the featured diamond of the week is a 2.69 carat cushion cut fancy intense yellow internally flawless. And one of the things you said to me, Harold, at the end of the year, you were saying to me that there was a mad rush for pink diamonds at the end of the year. And on top of it, you were finding it was getting very, very difficult to find internally flawless yellow diamonds. They were almost to the point where you could not get your hand on one.
You bet, Randy. It's an unbelievable time. Thank you very much for all the accolades and everything. It was a great year. I'll tell you, we're really building an amazing diamond business. And as a lot of these situations unfold that we spoke about at the beginning of the show, you're going to find that the diamond market is going to increase even more. It's one of the safest investments you could ever make. It reflects what's happening in the economy. You know, diamonds, not all diamonds are investment diamonds, but those that are reflect, you know, a good or a bad economy. However, there are certain diamonds that do even better when the economy is poor. And we've seen this year, in 2013, or last year in 2013, some of the most amazing prices reached in diamonds. The fact is that in the last part of the year, we saw that 60-carat vivid pink flawless diamond that was supposed to sell for $60 million sold for $83 million. We saw the vivid orange, one of the most beautiful diamonds in the world, that was originally bought for $2 million, estimated to sell for $17 million, sold for $35 million, and then a couple hours later sold again for $40 million. We saw the price of yellow diamonds skyrocket in price. Larger yellow diamonds did probably better than almost any other assets through the entire year. It was a phenomenal year for yellow diamonds of high quality, and the bigger they are, the more and more they went up in value. It was a tremendous year for diamonds. Probably one of the best situations that we're faced with at this point is a situation that we're comfortable with. One of the major mines in the world that produce 95% of the pink diamonds in the world is going to close by 2020. What you're going to find is that the price of these diamonds are going to continue to skyrocket in price, and the closer we get to the actual mine closing, the prices will just take off and run like crazy. So now is an excellent time to invest in those Argyle pink diamonds. In fact, we've made it possible for our clients to be able to get these diamonds. They're nearly impossible to get. Any of our competitors have hardly any, and we've invested millions and millions into that market just to make certain that we have the inventory to meet the demand for these unbelievable assets. And the price of these diamonds can increase 800 to 1,000% over the next 10 years. The other thing is they can be sold in other currencies. So all the currency fears, what's the fear of what's going to happen in the stock market? There are diamonds that are negative correlated to the stock market. Deep flawless whites go up even more in value when the stock market drops. In 2008, when the Dow dropped 50%, deep flawless white diamonds went up 50%. So, we certainly have you covered in the diamond market, and that is my major business. If you trade in precious metals, you buy gold and silver, it doesn't affect my bottom line in any way, shape, or form. I'm not in that business. I report on the gold and silver and commodity markets because I've been in that business for 35 years. I know the markets extremely well. And again, we have a huge following, not only in Canada, but worldwide that listen to us and our predictions on commodities, especially in England. We have a huge clientele in England that follows our radio shows on a weekly basis and participates in our auctions and buys most of our diamonds because of their currency markets. So 2013 was one of the best years ever for diamonds, and all the news that came out on the diamond market for 2013 was unbelievably positive. But 2014, I believe, is going to get even better because there are less and less diamonds available. There's less yellow flawless diamonds available, and there are way less Argyle pink diamonds available. Deep flawless whites represent 0.001% of the market. We're one of the only firms in the world that carry those. On top of that, we're the largest dealer of green diamonds in the world. Green diamonds are ridiculously rare and go up tremendously in value. So again, 2014, where it could be a very tough year for, for stocks and for bonds and for the derivatives market and other investments, it appears to me that the diamond market is going to have an even better year than 2013. And 2013 was one of the best years we've ever seen in the diamond market. There's a reason why Bloomberg has had us on for the last 3 times in the last 6 months. Number one, we're the premier company when it comes to dealing in diamonds. All you have to do is go to our website, Rare Color Diamonds, and see our inventory compared to any other firm that's in the diamond business. Number two, diamonds are only a good investment if they can be resold. And in the past, you could go and buy a diamond from a jeweler, wear that for 5 years, go back to the jeweler and try to sell it, and be disappointed with the fact that you got less than what you actually paid for the diamonds 5 years previous. We don't do that. We have our own auction business. We created the only secondary market to resell investment quality diamonds, and that's probably the biggest contribution that we've made to the diamond business. So when you're ready to sell your diamonds, we have H. Siegel Fine Auctions, which sells diamonds all over the world depending on where the currency markets are the strongest. So at this particular point, the next 5 to 10 years in diamonds will be the best we have ever seen. Very few clients are selling diamonds. Almost everybody is buying. So with our auction business, most of the diamonds that we put up are my own diamonds that I purchased 5 and 10 years ago when prices were substantially lower. Not that I want to sell these diamonds. It's a sacrifice that I make in order to build the auction business, and the auction business is definitely the future of the diamond business, and that's where we're putting most of our assets at this point. And we've realized that we have the next 5 years to build a tremendous business that will eventually make our clients fortunes in the diamond market. So we're extremely pleased with what we accomplished in 2013. It was a great year for business. We set records in sales, and we sold most of the Argyle pink diamonds in the world. We've invested very heavily in those because dollar per dollar, it appears that the Argyle pinks will return the highest return of almost any asset over the next 10 years. What we're also noticing with the Argyle pink diamonds is that they're no longer the strong pink that we've seen for the last 10 years. The color brown is starting to seep into the Argyle mine and changing these magnificent diamonds from vivid pinks and intense pinks and purplish pinks and those type of colors to brownish pinks. And the brownish pink diamonds are nowhere near as valuable as these magnificent other pink diamonds that are on my website at this time. So while you can still get these diamonds, I very, very strongly recommend that you go into the pink diamond market and buy physically these magnificent diamonds. And just so you know, You own these diamonds outright. They're delivered directly to you. We do not hold them for you unless you wanted us to. But most of our clients take physical delivery of their diamonds, and we ship them directly to you. When you see these diamonds, they'll take your breath away. They're the most beautiful assets that you could ever own. Many of our clients put them into rings and necklaces and enjoy them and wear them and then give them back to us to sell them. Now, obviously, at this point, nobody is selling their Argyle pinks. It defeats the purpose of buying them in the first place. We're buying them because the mine that produces 95% of them is going to close in 6 years, and the prices are going to continue to skyrocket. The highest quality of them all, the vivid pinks, are doubling in 2 years now. The other diamonds are going up by about 20%. And the closer we get to the mine closing in 2020, these diamonds will really take off and fly, especially the vivids and the intense and the deeps. So, again, we're very, very excited about what's happening in the diamond market. We were the first company to bring this to you. We deliver the diamonds directly to you. We have the greatest inventory of yellow flawless, Argyle pinks, deflawless whites, and green diamonds. We have diamonds that start at $15,000 and go all the way up to $40 to $50 million. And also in 2013, there was a couple diamonds that were sold at auction that were over 100 carats, and they were deflawlesses, and I do have those type of diamonds. I've got 2 diamonds that are over 100 carats that are perfect deflawless whites, and those diamonds sell in the $30 to $35 million range. However, where we see at auction most of these diamonds selling for record prices, it's really the lesser price diamonds that are selling for the highest multiples. Diamonds that were supposed to sell for $15,000 sold for $45,000 and $50,000. That's a 300% increase over what the experts thought that those diamonds would sell for. And if you look at the auction results for the last year, you're going to see that it wasn't so much the multi-million-dollar diamonds that made these gigantic returns. It was the less expensive diamonds, the smaller 1 and 2 carat and 3 carat yellow flawlesses. Even the yellow diamonds that were 3 carats that were not flawless went up 200%, 300%, 400%. So you can imagine how much these perfect flawless yellows have gone up. So again, this is a very exciting year. 2013, our clients did tremendously well. This is a buy and hold type of market. You don't buy a diamond today and sell it in a couple of years from now. You're just not going to make any money. You're wasting your own time doing so. What you want to do is you want to buy and hold these diamonds. These are the type of assets that are going to set you up for retirement. They're going to give you that big lump sum return that you've always wanted without the risk of the stock and commodity market. So, again, we're extremely enthused about what happened in 2013 in diamonds. We continue to carry the yellow flawlesses. We actually sell over 80% of the yellow flawless diamonds in the world. We sell about the same amount of deflawless whites. We're the largest dealer of deflawless whites. And as far as the pink diamond goes, all you have to do is look at our website and see what we have in Argyle pinks compared to anybody else, and you'll understand who's the most bullish on that particular market. So the featured diamond this week is out and out spectacular. To get a diamond that's over 2 carats is only 1 in 15 million is over 2 carats. So to get a featured diamond like we have up there today, which is actually 2.69 carats, it's intense yellow in color, one of the best colors you can get, and extremely important that it's an internally flawless diamond. You just never see diamonds like this. These diamonds can take on a life of their own and can go up more than almost any other asset. And again, there's no risk to these diamonds. They have never, ever declined in price, ever. And the closer we get to the Argyle mine closing, or less and less of these yellow flawless diamonds available, the prices will just continue to skyrocket. And the other thing is that we can sell your diamonds for you in the parts of the world where the currency markets are the strongest. And that means that we can make money on the diamond itself and on the currency. And I think that this should sum things up for you. We're a firm believer that if we give you advice on a market and we're incorrect, we don't make anything on that market. If we're correct, we deserve to participate in the profits. In the case of diamonds, we get 10% of the profit only. So if you bought a diamond for $50,000 and sold it in 10 years from now for $250,000 and made a $200,000 profit, we get 10% of the $200,000, which is $20,000, and you get all of the rest. There's no other company that does that. There's no other company that has the wherewithal to resell your diamonds. We have clients all over the world that attend our auctions. So, again, 2014 is going to be a very tough year, I believe, for the stock, bond, and derivatives market. I think we could see a massive increase in the price of metals if things go the way that we anticipate, and I do believe that that will happen. I also believe that some of the biggest financial gains will be in the rare colored diamond market, and that, again, is the major market that we bring to you. That is my only business. I'm not in the precious metals business, I'm not in the stock business, and I don't trade commodities. I am in the diamond business, and that is where all of our attention is averted to, and again, that's where we see our clients, along with physical gold and silver, making fortunes over the next 10 years.
In 2014, there will be more auctions from hsfineauctions.com. Take a look around the website. Go there right now, hsfineauctions.com, and you can see over the last couple of years all the different items that have been auctioned off, and we will be more than happy to let you know when the next auction is in 2014. Harold's website for diamonds, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, and you can speak personally and privately with Harold about your financial situation, about diamonds, hard assets, an open invitation to speak with him personally and privately at 1-800-432-1022. Our featured diamond of the week, you can speak with him about the 2.69 carat cushion cut fancy intense yellow internally flawless. It's stunning. And if you have not gotten your name on the list for our free weekly newsletter, Speak with Harold, we'll send it out to you via email free of charge in 2014. We spent a lot of time putting it together so you're educated. It's the companion to our radio show and the seminars, the online seminars that Harold does. Take a look at the two features that Bloomberg did on Harold. We have them in our newsletter. You can watch them online as well at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. It was back in 2005, August of 2005, that Harold wrote the very first article about colored diamonds. Naturally fancy colored diamonds, the best kept secret. And they really were. It was a very rare market back then. It's still rare now, but it was a very, very rare market back then. And it's amazing to see, since 2005 to here we are in 2014, how this market has grown. We're seeing at Sotheby's and Christie's, the major diamonds being sold, colored diamonds. We're seeing articles being written about investing in diamonds. Harold was the one who first brought that to our attention. And early on, people didn't believe that it was a viable idea. And even obviously having a website, people didn't believe it was a viable idea back in 2005. And Harold proved them wrong, as he has the number one website on the internet for colored diamonds, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. And Harold, we have about 6 minutes left in our show, but if you look at diamonds, there's the privacy aspect, portability, estate planning, price stability, long-term growth. And we're starting to see big money go into cars, artwork. You're seeing it into diamonds. The reason it's happening is they're getting out of paper assets. They're getting into hard assets. And that smart money knows something. That's why we see at the end of 2013, we can send you the auction results from the last 4 months of 2013, and you can see it for yourself. That's why we have a pink diamond selling for $83 million. That's why we have an orange diamond selling for $36 million. The big money moving into hard assets, getting out of paper U.S. dollars, they're ahead of the game. And Harold, I think we should seriously consider that as well.
Better believe it, Randy. Again, people don't invest that type of money in something that is not a good investment. When you're putting up 83 or $85 million like they did on that vivid pink, or $35 million on the vivid orange, it's for a specific reason. It's an investment, and they don't anticipate losing money. In fact, the orange that sold for $35 million sold 5 minutes later for $40 million right after it was purchased. So again, there's a strong indication that the price of diamonds will continue to increase, and the worse and worse the economy gets, the more and more these diamonds are going to go up in value. And again, they're a key and integral part of the marketplace. All we did was brought a legitimate secondary market for people to be able to sell. Again, we're all collectors in some way, shape, or form, whether it's sports memorabilia or coins or stamps or cars or whatever, but you need a viable secondary market to resell them, and again, that's what we brought to the table. So I'm very proud of that, and you're going to see in 2014, we're going to try to hold an auction pretty well every single month except for the summer, and that will give our clients a phenomenal opportunity to get involved in this amazing marketplace, and again, see how the secondary market actually works.
Our featured diamond is a 2.69 carat cushion cut. Fancy, intense yellow, internally flawless. You can see it online on Harold's website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. There's a video of it there. We have a picture of it in our newsletter. If you'd like to get your name on the list for our free weekly newsletter, connect with Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Telephone number 1-800-432-1022. And Harold, I really can't encourage people enough. Since September of 2013 until the end of the year, we had a string of outstanding auction results from Christie's, from Sotheby's, and if people want to get those results, you'll be more than happy to send them to them, because it really gives people an idea, and you touched on it as well. Sure, we're seeing the big diamonds selling for big dollars, but when it comes to the major price increases, it's the smaller diamonds, the ones that they expected to sell for, let's say, 50, that sold for 150. And we saw big moves in the big diamonds, but it's those smaller diamonds in 2013, the end of the year, with Christie's and Sotheby's, that saw major, major moves.
It was phenomenal and very, very exciting to see, and I know that our clients were very excited to see that also. So, again, I believe that will continue, and I believe a lot of money is going to go into the hard asset market this year, especially when people start to see the fear in the marketplace in stocks, and especially with what's going to happen with derivatives. There is no doubt in my mind that the derivatives market is going to do what it did in 2008 and really put a hurt on these markets. You don't want to be involved in the markets when that happens. You want to have your money in safer assets. That would be gold, silver, and again, these amazing diamonds.
Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. The telephone number 1-800-432-1022. Speak with him about investing in diamonds and the company he recommends you use when it comes to investing in gold, silver, platinum, palladium is Worldwide Precious Metals. They're a Canadian company out of Vancouver, a leading Canadian precious metals bullion dealer recommended by Harold for over 10 years. They're the experts to trust and work with in this very specialized market. One of the things they did at the end of 2013 is they had a seminar here in Edmonton about the Canadian banking system. And I had a chance to go to the seminar, and it was an eye-opening event. It was also in Toronto as well a few months prior to that. Now, Worldwide does plan on doing more seminars for those that did not get a chance to see the banking seminar in Calgary, Edmonton, or Toronto. If you would like to get your name on the list early to reserve your seat to find out about the shocking truth of the Canadian banking system, connect with Worldwide Precious Metals, wwpmc.com, or 1-866-623-2002. And one of the things that really stood out when I went to the seminar is the amount of goodwill that these banks have on their balance sheet. And it will all be explained at the seminar. It is a must-see seminar, and I encourage you to go. Harold, we start out 2014 very optimistic for hard assets. As we said off the top of the show, it comes down to philosophy, paper versus hard assets. We're seeing gold leave the West. Basically, the London bullion houses are practically empty. It's all moving east to China. What will happen with QE? Big questions for 2014, but we will be here in 2014 to help people maneuver through the markets.
You better believe we will, Randy. We've never missed a show in 13 years, and we don't intend on missing any this year. So, again, It's going to be a good year. We're going to make a lot of money together. We're going to stay on top of everything. And again, we wish everybody, all of our loyal listeners and friends, a very, very happy 2014.
Thank you very much, Harold Siegel.
My pleasure, and I wish everybody a very profitable day.
Yes, Happy New Year from me, Randy Marshall. Connect with Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022, WWPMC.com for precious metals, worldwide precious metals, 1-866-623-2002. That's it. Another edition of the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.